everyone. Welcome to Credential Up Houston. My name is Margaret Ford Fisher. I hope our program today will inspire you. If you have a dream to further your education or credential up, or if you know individuals who do, invite them to watch this program. I will visit with two guests who will share their educational journeys with us. I think their stories will inspire. Now we will begin with our first guest, Dr. Terri Blackmon. Dr. Blackmon has baccalaureate and master's degrees from Prairie View A&M University in animal science, a PhD in animal science from Texas A&M University, and a postdoc in animal science from Kansas State University. She has a USDA certification in meat grading, and she is a published author, presenter, and scholar who is a professor of biology at the Houston Community College. Dr. Blackmon, you have very impressive credentials. Thank you so very much for joining us.
Thank you for having me. It is a privilege and a pleasure to be here this afternoon.
Well, you are so welcome. We're delighted that you are here. So tell us, what inspired you to attend college and to pursue the fields that you are now so accomplished in?
Oh, that's a great question. What inspired me to go to college was just my advisors that I had in high school. I'm a first generation college grad. I am the only one at this moment who have completed college. I'm not the only one who has attended college now, but I am the only one who finished. But I just wanted to be successful. And I always knew I wanted to be a doctor, but at first I didn't know which kind of doctor that I wanted to be. And then I went on this route and I was like, okay, I'm going to be a veterinarian. And then I ended up going to Prairie View A&M University. And then while my time there, I majored in animal science. And then I had my lovely daughter while I was a freshman. So that kind of put a little halt in my plans just a little bit. But like you mentioned, I am a USDA certified meat grader. And so I had an opportunity while I was there to become an intern for the USDA as a commodity grader. And so that's how my path kind of started weaving into being meat science and led me into this field of biology now.
So tell us about your field of animal science. And I also find it very interesting that it was an advisor who really helped to inspire you and to set you on that path. So what was it about animal science that particularly intrigued you?
I just always had a passion and a love for animals. Like, I have animals right now. I have only two. But when I was growing up, I think my mom probably wanted to kick me out of her house because I was turning it into a zoo. And I worked as a groomer at PetSmart for a while. And so every animal that came in that the owners didn't want anymore, I would bring home. I remember sitting in the back of the car with a cat shoved in my shirt, and it's meowing, and my mom is like, what is that noise? And I'm like, it's me. It's me. And it's an actual cat in my shirt. But I knew I always had a passion and a love for animals. I just didn't know which route I could take to, help with animals. But then I was like, I want to be a doctor. So I'll be a doctor that cares and loves and caters to animals. And so, like I mentioned, when I got to school, when I got to PV, I expressed my passion and my love, and they said, okay, we're going to put you on this veterinary path because it's all about what you're passionate about. And they know if you're passionate about a particular thing that you'll be more than likely to succeed in that particular area because that's where your passion lies. And so I absolutely loved it. I absolutely loved my coursework surrounding the material. I loved courses that actually challenged me. That I was like, I walked into that, I was like, no, there's no way I can do this. I'm not smart enough to do this. Again, I'm a first gen college student. So there's no one in my family that I could look up to that could have given me advice in the realm of do this in order to be successful, do this, do that. Don't do this when you go to your courses. But I met some amazing professors that we grew some fun relationships with. And after I had my daughter, I knew I had got off of track a little bit with my prereqs to qualify for vet school. It would have left me in school just a little bit longer. And a gentleman that I was introduced to by the name of Mr. Hodge, he currently had worked with the USDA, and he was like, hey, I have this opportunity. It's not live animals, it's dead ones. But I think it'll be a great opportunity and open your world to do a new horizon. I think you should step into it. And I'm like, no, I don't want to do that. That's not for me. But I'm glad that I did, because it had opened up the path to an area of science that I never knew about. First of all, I never knew about agriculture. And then I'm introduced to a different realm of agriculture with a different field of science.
Of course, absolutely. And that's so fascinating, because what you are saying is really key, is to, number one, pursue your passion. And then it almost seems to be almost like a step-by-step process, is once you decide that you're going to take the first step, that you will meet people along the way in your path who will assist you. So tell us about the USDA and meat grading experience.
That was an extreme experience. It was fun. It was enlightening. I got to travel as an undergraduate student. It was really cool because I didn't have much money to travel, and this offered me an opportunity to see different cities and states that I hadn't been to. And then working within the USDA, I got an opportunity to be in a different sector of agriculture. And I really enjoyed it because, like I said, that's what sparked my passion to be a biologist, to go into lipid biochemistry, to major in the meat science, because I'm anemic. So the cold part, being a commodity grader, you're in conditions, obviously you're in a cooler because you're dealing with chilled products, so chilled carcasses. So I was a commodity grader for beef, lamb, and veal. And so I was in the cooler for about maybe 20, 30 minutes at a time, looking at different characteristics of the carcass in order to grade it. And so most people think, or at least me, I thought that computers graded beef. So when you went into a steakhouse and you ate prime choice or select steaks, or you selected that type of product, that a computer put that label on there, or that designation to that meat. But there are actually humans like myself that's in there saying, okay, looking at characteristics to do these things. And from that, I gained a perspective of asking myself, well, why is there value placed on this? What is it about lipid composition that draws people to wanting to pay a premium for having more fat? And so that took me into the bench science. So from out of meat grading, which I had a wonderful experience, it opened my horizons to a different aspect of science, meat science, and took me into the laboratory. And then now I'm able to talk to students and let them see that people look like me there.
That's great. And we have about 4 minutes left in the interview. And I'd like for you to talk about the piece that you just referenced. Now you are a college professor, and I'd like to find out how you use your experience to inspire your students and to also be that connecting piece for them to their next step as well on their educational pathway.
That's a great question, because that's a question that I get from some of my students asking, you have all of this bench science research behind you. Why are you now a biology professor? And how does that even correlate with what you're doing now? And something that I'm using my research background for right now is I'm an advisor for LSM, the Lewis-Stokes Alliance for Minority Participation. So I'm responsible for the research students. And currently we have at HCC 10 students that are at various four-year institutions, in which I am their mentor and their guide in helping them in these research experiences, where myself, when I first walked into something like that, felt that I wasn't capable enough. I wasn't smart enough. I didn't see people doing this type of hard science. And so now I'm able to tell these students, show these students, and exhibit to these students the passion that I have for the sciences, and hopefully that it exudes to them and give them the knowledge so that they're successful in these avenues as well. And then I'm also doing research in the realm of academia. So I'm in the field of community college biology. I'm looking at strategies to resist, looking for facilitation strategies that are effective at resistance towards active learning in biology courses. So my research hasn't gone away. It's just maneuvered transition to another area.
That's so exciting. So obviously the short-term sacrifices have been certainly worth the long-term gains that you're now experiencing. So that is just really quite commendable. So tell us,
Yes.
The journey has been worth it, obviously. Lessons learned. What would you say to other students as lessons learned? You indicated first time in college students. So tell me, in about a minute, what would you say to students who are now contemplating what they want to do in life?
Be patient with yourself.
Be patient.
Be patient with yourself, and don't beat yourself up too much about where you should be. Appreciate where you are, and just know that there's something to be learned in that moment that's going to strengthen you or is strengthening you for where you're about to go. So just enjoy where you are and just be patient with yourself.
And of course, they have to take the first step as well.
The hardest step is the first step.
Pardon me?
I was saying the hardest step is the first step.
Right. Hardest step is the first step. But certainly when we have students to come to us, many of them are kind of like putting a little toe in the water to see whether or not this is for them. And we want them to know that it is. And so we want to encourage them, inspire them, and tell them all of what is possible for them in the field of their interest, and for them to pursue their passion. So what is your contact information, Dr. Blackmon?
Well, my contact information, my name is Terronica, and so that is spelled TERRONICA.Blackmon, BLACKMON, at hccs.edu. So Terronica.Blackmon.
Thank you so very, very much. At hccs.edu. Thanks a million. So thank you, Dr. Blackmon, for joining us. Continued successes to you. Now we will take a break, and when we return, we will meet our next very impressive guest as well, who will inspire. So please stay with us.
Hey, Bobo, do trees tell each other stories?
I'm sorry. I'm afraid I don't know that.
Hey, why don't we go find out? Listen.
Do clouds take naps?
I couldn't tell you.
Dad, do stars visit their friends?
Look!
I don't remember how it started.
Talk to Dad.
Oh boy.
Our back and forth. It always came back.
Dad!
You probably don't remember what you told me,
That was perfect.
but I heard every word.
I love teaching at HCC. I love helping students.
With college credits.
With scholarships and financial aid.
Training them for life-changing careers.
Come learn with us.
HCC, for everyone, anytime, anyway.
Welcome back to Credential Up Houston. Today we are focusing on the educational journeys of two guests who have persisted to achieve remarkable success. Our next guest grew up in East End, Houston, and was a first-generation college student as well. She will share how a workforce solutions counselor and an HCC counselor literally helped to change the direction of her life. Our guest completed a baccalaureate degree in psychology at the University of Houston and a master's degree in adult and higher education. She has been an academic advisor, a career counselor, and now an advising manager with the HCC Online College. Our guest is Ms. Christy Cervantes. Thank you so much for joining us, Ms. Cervantes.
Thank you so much for having me. It's a pleasure to be here with you and everyone else on this discussion.
Oh, you're so welcome. Delighted that you are here. So your master's degree is in adult education. Tell us how that field is so pertinent in your work in helping adult learners decide on a career pathway.
So it's very important that, when working with college students, as mentioned, my background, being a first generation college student, you do enter the college environment not knowing how to college, how do you college? How do you navigate through this complex system? And so it's very important to take it from, look at it from the student's lens and put yourself in their shoes and be a co-pilot with them. And so one thing that I realized that, my undergraduate degree definitely gave me the skills to work with people, get to know them, pull out and, questions and get them to talk. But, the master's in education in adult education and higher learning really hone in on that. It really focused on getting to know what needs that the adult learners have.
That's very, very good. And I like what you said about co-piloting with them. So tell us just a little bit more about that. You've touched on it just a bit by saying that you need to know exactly what they need. But in addition to that co-piloting, are there additional components to that?
Yes, there is. So anytime we are working with any new student at HCC, particularly with, our online students, is we take the time to get to know the student. We ask inquisitive questions. We practice proactive advising. We get to know the student. We have them, if they're still undecided, we ask them, what are your hobbies? What are your interests? Because sometimes some students are not aware that, you can discover what your passion is and what you love to do by just looking at what you're interested in doing. Sometimes some students are already come with amazing skills. We have students who have, for example, they are gamers and they know how to design video games. They know how to design applications that we use every day in our smartphones. And so we take those type of questions and ask the student, what is it that you like to do? What kind of skills are you already coming with? And we just want to get to know you so we can see, well, based on this, have you ever thought of maybe, a game design? HCC offers this certificate. And then after you finish your certificate, you can pursue an associate's degree and then keep going from there. And so it's really just practicing proactive advising, asking questions, and utilizing all of our resources that we have at Houston Community College.
So with the HCC Online College, and you take a look also in contrast to advising on campus where you have the students there face to face, how does the advisement process differ?
So the advisement process differs in an online environment. And I have been in academic advising for a little over 10 years. And so I have done, the beginning years of my career were all face-to-face advising, at 4 well-known institutions, including HCC here in Houston. And so, I've gone through the peak registration. I've gone through, student back-to-back students and understanding them and getting to know them. But what has happened since the pandemic has started, and also realizing that the need of technology and the need of understanding how to utilize technological resources and integrate them in advising can be successful if you prepare yourself and if you work on those skills and you get to know, especially as an educator in higher ed, you get to really learn how to work the different softwares that we have. You can go above and beyond and utilize those resources in an online environment. So the process is a little bit different. It's a lot of hands-on. We are always multitasking with different softwares. We have Zoom for our online advising Zoom lobby where we're servicing students. We have Teams open where we're talking with our colleagues and different individuals across campus and saying, hey, could you look this student up? How can we assist the student? And then we are also teaching our students, many who are first generation college students and are coming into this online platform. We're teaching them how to use our technology, because we can have a student who's tech savvy, but we still have to educate them on the processes and the tools that HCC uses. So it's very hands-on.
So in talking to our previous guest, there was information shared about having individuals almost as co-partners in the educational process as well, and individuals who inspired them. And I'm wondering, in your own personal journey, you mentioned the counselors who inspired you. As you work with the students who come to us, particularly in an online environment, what would be that relationship building that our students can have as they work with our students virtually, but at the same time, as we then hand them off to the professors to work with them, the counselors, et cetera? How do we maintain that connection with them in the process?
Well, the first recommendation I have is, for example, for my team with my advisors, one of the recommendations I always make is get to know your student. And I know sometimes it's hard, especially in a virtual environment. And especially during peak registration, because it's a fast pace, just everything moving so fast and lots of pressure. But I always take the time to get to know the student. We want to ask and focus on the most important questions. How can HCC help you? What is it that you're trying to do? What are short-term goals that you have that can transition into long-term goals? And we could see how we can match you into either our certifications or our degree programs that we have. And so it's just once again, going back to those proactive questions, asking, utilizing resources. Many times we do have students who are undecided. And so this is where we recommend our career services, career coach, which is our career assessment for students to figure out different pathways that we have.
That very, very good. So tell us about the financial aid that's available for the students as well, who might come to you and say, well, I really want to enroll, but I don't have the money to be able to pay. So what kind of advice is given to the students?
So the first thing that we recommend is definitely apply for FAFSA. That is one thing that our advisors are trained to do is, we have the questions where, okay, what is it that you want to do? Once we figure out career goals, then we say, okay, how are we going to fund this? So recommend all students apply for financial aid through the FAFSA application. Visit our financial aid offices. We have a wonderful financial aid advisors that will help you. And I always tell students, it does not matter if you think sometimes, with our adult learners who are working, they may say, well, I probably earn too much. You still apply, because sometimes we have scholarships, we have book vouchers, we have, grants, that as long as you fill out the application, you may qualify for any type of funding that there is available based on your needs. For my undocumented students, TASFA, that is the state financial aid through the state of Texas. That's the application. So we have various options that we can work with students.
Okay, so what about our students now who, for example, are homeless and they want to enroll in college? As well as those who may be having food challenges. What do you do to advise them?
That's a great question. And because we are faced with those scenarios, we have students coming from all different types of, backgrounds, all walks of life, inside Houston, as well as, within the state and outside with online college. The wonderful thing about HCC is that we have so many resources. We have wonderful counselors who are licensed. They're licensed professional counselors that can work with students to help them in those situations. If a student is needing shelter, they can provide those resources. They could have a list of different external community organizations that we work with. The same thing when it comes to providing any type of, let's say they have a need for food or anything like that. HCC offers at different various campuses. They do have it's kind of considered like a food market where they have so many donations coming in from lots, different organizations that donate to Houston Community College, and they donate, different types of foods and just any type of resources that we have. You can find it across Houston Community College. So we work with everyone across the campus.
Excellent. Excellent. So the journey has been well worth it. I presume that other members of your family have been inspired also educationally because of your great success. So what lessons have you learned, very briefly, in about 1 minute?
So lessons I've learned is as a student, never stop asking questions. Don't stop asking. Ask all the questions that you have. I always tell the students there is no such thing as a dumb question. Ask away. If you feel like I still need more information, come back, ask us. We will definitely get the resources or get you connected to someone who may be able to better explain to you, the processes that you are seeking, the answers that you're seeking. One thing that helped me is, mentorship. Find a mentor. That could be a professor, that could be a counselor, an advisor. Just a mentor will really help you. Another student who has already gone through the journey and can help you. And just learn and never stop building on your skills or your craft.
Very, very good. And so in about 15 seconds, we'd like to get your contact information.
Absolutely. So my name is Christy Cervantes. My email is christy.cervantes@hccs.edu. I am the advising manager for HCC Online College, and my contact number is 713-718-8630.
And that is excellent. And of course, you are a tremendous role model as well, and you have a passion for serving our students. So congratulations to you. We're delighted that you and both Dr. Blackmon and other outstanding faculty and staff members are on board here at HCC to serve our students. So thank you so much, Ms. Cervantes, for joining us. Continued successes to you. This has been a great interview. And thank you so much also to our viewing audience. If you are interested in credentialing up, please contact us at hccs.edu/online. So this has been a wonderful program. I do hope that you have been inspired. Feel free to contact us, and we will see you again next time.